We're here today to talk about Malden's Climate Action Plan, what's in it, how it all came together, and what it does for you. Some quick introductions to our speakers today.
Hi, my name is Ricky Ma. I'm the chair for the Malden's Climate Action and Sustainability Commission. I've been living in Malden for almost a decade now. I'm an engineer by trade, and I'm excited to talk to you guys about what we've been doing so far. I'll hand it over to Julia.
Hi listeners, my name is Julia Nasser. I'm a senior climate and energy planner at the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, or MAPC. We are the regional planning agency for the greater Boston area, so that means we serve the 101 cities and towns in our region. We provide all sorts of planning assistance, technical assistance. We do traditional planning like land use and transportation. I sit on the clean energy team, and we also have an arts and culture team, a public health team, economic development. So we do the full gambit of planning work in our region. And I have been working with the City of Malden since the end of 2022 as a consultant supporting the planning, development, and now implementation of the city's climate action plan.
And I am Becca McFeeters, Sustainability and Grants Manager in the city's Office of Strategic Planning and Community Development, or OSPCD. I manage the Climate Action Plan drafting and publishing process, and I now staff the city's Climate Action and Sustainability Commission, which focuses on implementing the plan.
And I'm Amanda Treat, the Vice Chair of Malden's Climate Action Sustainability Commission. I'm also a holdover from the Malden's Climate Action Plan Committee, which was a different resident group of volunteers that drafted the plan. I formerly worked at the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center in the Renewable Heating and Cooling Division, and I could not be more excited that Malden High School has a solar hot water system installed to heat the swimming pool. That is so excellent. But we're here today to talk about the Malden Climate Action Plan, what's in it, what impacts it might have for you. For an overview, I'm going to have Becca walk us through what's in the Climate Action Plan.
Yeah, thanks, Amanda. So the Climate Action Plan is a roadmap for Malden's response to climate change. It outlines the way that the city can prevent damage from extreme weather, reduce our energy use, and support our residents in doing the same. The plan focuses on 5 key areas. Those are championing good governance, achieving net zero in buildings and energy, accelerating the adoption of sustainable transportation, enhancing community resilience, and mitigating heat and flooding impacts. And where Julia consulted for the city throughout the entire development of the plan, I'm going to pass it to her to talk through that process.
Thanks. And as you were going through the list of our climate goals, I hope it's not lost on everyone the pun in accelerate sustainable transportation. Okay.
It's very good. It's very good.
We're laughing.
I hope so. Great. So let me tell you guys a little bit about how the Climate Action Plan was developed, all the planning that went into it. So in 2022, Mayor Gary Christensen announced that Malden would create its first Climate Action Plan. The city received a Technical Assistance Award from the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, and we worked with the City of Malden, the committee that Amanda was mentioning, and the city's municipal departments, local community partners to develop the Climate Action Plan. And this looked like, for the first few months of it, there was a lot of project setup that went into it. So we were forming and interviewing, so recruiting, interviewing, and then forming the resident-led steering committee, of which Amanda was on. We were also forming a municipal working group of staff that would then be leading on the implementation of the Climate Action Plan strategies, just to make sure that they're bought in from the start, as well as some other local community partners. And then after that, the first phase was identifying what are the potential strategies that Malden residents and community members might be interested in. And that included a lot of community engagement. I'll get into that in a little bit. This was around the time that the city had its first Green Malden Fair, and we had some nice posters, and we were just there to ask residents kind of, what do you want to see in your backyard? What kind of initiatives and programs are you most interested in? What have you seen in other cities that you want to see in Malden? In addition to kind of that community outreach, we also did a greenhouse gas inventory for the city. So that looks at what are the major sources of emissions in the city of Malden. We also did what we call a net zero audit, so understanding what are the existing policies and programs in place in Malden, where are the gaps that the Climate Action Plan can then fill. And MAPC also has a database of Climate Action Plan strategies from across our region that we look to as well. And then finally, we asked and inquired further with the Municipal Sustainability Working Group. That's the municipal department heads. Of, what are the strategies that they foresee in the climate action plan? What's missing, and what are they interested in? And so we took we had over 100 strategies in our list, and we had the process of prioritizing the strategies, grouping things together. We developed some prioritization criteria alongside the resident-led steering committee and the municipal staff, and then we whittled all of that down to the strategies that are currently in the climate action plan under the 5 categories that Becca was mentioning. And then finally, we did a lot of community engagement at the end to see, is this resonating with the community? Is this what you wanted to see? We had a public comment period. We had in-person workshops. We had virtual meetings just to get as much feedback from community members as possible. And then we finalized the climate action plan. And Ricky's going to tell us a little bit about how we took the plan and turned it into action.
Yeah, definitely. And actually before that, Julia, you were mentioning about the Green Malden Fair. We have one coming right up, right?
We sure do. It's on April 25th, 12 to 3 at Pine Banks Park. Everyone should come out.
Yeah.
Good plug. Love it.
So in terms of what we did this year, the 9 of us, so Amanda, who's with us today, Rachel, Bob, Diego, Ron, Lipin, myself, as well as our 2 youth representatives, Ayuka and Noah. We joined the CASC, the Climate Action and Sustainability Commission, back in June. I actually think I found the posting for it when I was reading The Advocate at a cornucopia at one of the breakfast sessions.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, and like some interviews later. I think, Becca, you were there, right, for the interview with me? Yeah. And after those interviews, a few months later, met the rest of the team, and we just kind of sat down and really got down to business. I think very early on, we decided that what we really wanted to do for the first year is to get the fundamentals right, making sure that we're focusing on things that would make sense for us to do no matter what's going on. And I think that really boiled down to 3 main areas. Really about making it easier for us to be energy efficient, protecting our neighborhoods from seasonal heat and flooding, and really being transparent about our progress at CASC. On the energy front, we have gotten our So Smart Bronze designation, which really helps streamlines our process for residential solar. We have also been working with Will, an engineer from BU. He's been helping us build our Energy Coach program. The cost of electricity in Massachusetts has gone up significantly over the past 5 years, something like 35%. And the idea of this program is really to help us find ways to make our homes more efficient, help us lower our utility bills, and as well as navigate through all the different paperworks for different tax incentives that we can take advantage of. On protecting ourselves from the seasonal heat, we also have been mapping out where our straightest structures are, cooling centers, water fountains, so folks know where they can go when it gets too hot. And on the flooding front, we've also have applied for a grant to teach our residents about depaving, which is really cool, actually, replacing old asphalt with permeable surfaces that lets the ground soak up the water during big storms instead of letting it flood in the streets. And lastly, we wanted to be really open about what we're doing at CASC. So we have a monthly newsletter that you guys can sign up for. Maybe our friends at UMA can add it to in the description there for the link. And we're also finishing up our annual progress reports that we will be sharing with you guys later this summer. And on that note, Amanda, of the stuff that we have been working on so far, what has been your favorite?
Well, I have 2 thoughts. One about some of the input we got that helped us make decisions about where to focus. When we were coming up with the climate action plan, we interviewed such a wide group of people, but I specifically remember a little boy coming up to us at the Green Malden Fair, and he just said, "The schools are too hot." And when we started looking into it, we realized that some of the elementary schools here in Malden, the thermostats are not based on the outdoor temperature. So there was an 80-degree day, and they couldn't turn the air conditioning on because it just wasn't programmed that way. It was like, what valuable input from probably a fourth grader? I'm guessing his age.
Right.
So that really stuck out to me. But we also, during one of our community gathering information sessions, had the police department show up, and they said when it's summer and they're doing traffic details and just standing on that pavement with no trees,
Oh, yeah.
that it is just hot to the point of being dangerous. And so that is one of the considerations for us to be focusing on heating and cooling.
Can I add one thing? At
Yeah.
the first Green Malden Fair, I remember a teacher who came up to me, and she's a special eds teacher at one of the schools here, and she said that their windows were inoperable, and it was so hot that the kids were actually like laying on the ground to try and cool down.
Yeah. So clearly, we are listening to the community and where the real pain points are and trying to come up with solutions. And with that, what I'm looking forward to the most of the initiatives we're working on is that energy coaching program. I think that will help us in so many different areas. For example, I think people are really skeptical about door knockers who are like, hey, let me put some solar panels up. Hey, let me put a heat pump in. And that you're just not sure who to trust or if they're giving you right information. And on top of that, the paperwork to get the grants to help offset the cost of these technologies is just such a barrier that people don't want to be filling out pages and pages of paperwork. And if we can figure out how to make that easier and trustworthy for everybody here in Malden, less paperwork for everyone, I think that's such a win. So I'm really looking forward to the energy coaching program.
Yeah, we should change our slogan for the cast to be that less paperwork
Less
for everyone.
paperwork for everyone. Speaking of the CASC, this Climate Action and Sustainability Commission, we want our neighbors and fellow Malden residents to know that the work we're doing is funded entirely by grants, and the voting commission members all live here in Malden and are volunteering their time because we think this is really important. We also receive support from the city, from Councillor Carrie McDonald, and Becca, who's sitting here, has been tirelessly applying for all of the grant funding that's helping us get these initiatives underway. Becca, I would love if you'd tell us about some of the grants we've applied for.
For sure, yes. So we have jumped onto a number of regional grant applications this year, particularly for the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Grant Program, or MVP grant program. And all of the regional grants that we have an application for work on cooling initiatives, depaving initiatives, ways to store stormwater so that we can avoid flooding. So we'll be really excited to see what happens with those applications and what we will be able to move forward with. I think we have a really good feeling. Some of them are programs that we've been running for the past few years with the MVP grant, and so we feel like we have a good shot at keeping those rolling. The CASC also applied to get our fellow Will. Ricky mentioned him earlier. He's working on our energy coaching program. So his work is grant funded as well, which is excellent. Julia's work with us is grant funded via an MAPC Technical Assistance Program grant, which is wonderful. Yep. And then we have an application to the Bloomberg Youth Climate Action Fund, which would let us run a youth competition seeking kind of climate solutions from our high schoolers and hopefully helping them fund one of the climate solutions. So that would be really cool to get. We should hear soon.
Speaking of youth and climate, isn't there a Youth Climate Summit this Saturday?
Speaking of...
Another great plug. That's going to be at City Hall, and I believe it starts at noon. We sent out information in our newsletter, and I'm seeing nods around the room that we got the timing on that right.
Yes.
But excellent. Thank you for reminding us of that. So while we're talking about the city of Malden, Becca, once again, can you share some of the municipal updates since that is so closely tied to the Climate Action Plan?
Yeah, I'm really proud to say that the city has made a lot of progress on our climate action plan already. So in the last year, the city has added heat pumps to one of our municipal buildings using federal funds. So that, project is adding to a growing list of existing heat pump projects on city schools and buildings. The city is also mid-construction on the Malden River Works Park project. That is a project that's all about building a climate-resilient park on the Malden River. And so it does two things. It creates public access to the river, something that Maldonians, I think, don't know that they have. And it also mitigates flooding in the area. And so, the park is designed to really, again, absorb the stormwater, treat the stormwater. In addition, the city's tree warden has been doing some really excellent work. He completed a permeable pavement project in the Forest Hill Cemetery this past year. So he kind of proved that we can pave roads in a way that allows for stormwater absorption and reduces flooding. Super cool project, and one that I think we're hoping to replicate in other areas of Malden. There's more examples too, and for those, I encourage listeners to read the CASC's annual report when it comes out.
That's great. And then I want to ask Julia, from your work at MAPC, you've worked with a number of cities on their climate action plans. Is there anything unique about Malden, challenging or great opportunities? Anything here that jumps out to you?
I love this question because you're right. I have worked on many climate action plans. I don't think I've ever actually stopped to count them, but there is quite a few. And what was most impressive to me about Malden was just the commitment to community engagement and really thoughtful, inclusive, meaningful community engagement, especially in a community like Malden. I think we learned pretty quickly that language access is going to be really important in a community like Malden. There's a lot of renters, there's a lot of people of color, a lot of racial minorities, and so how do we reach and make sure that we are kind of hearing from all the voices in Malden and not just like the folks who have time and are typically at the table? And so some of the community engagement strategies that we did, early on, we had some focus groups with the support of the Immigrant Learning Center and the Chinese Cultural Connection. We had some in-language focus groups. So we hired interpreters. We compensated folks for their time, and we just kind of sat around a room and asked. We had 3 focus groups, so one in Brazilian Portuguese, one in Haitian Creole, and one in Mandarin Chinese. And we asked folks like, what do you like about Malden? What do you want to see in Malden? And like helped to refine what are the strategies that we wanted to include in the climate action plan. So that's one thing that I really loved about the climate action plan. Another is that we weren't just learning from residents and from the city. We were also learning from local service providers. So that includes like the Cambridge Health Alliance, Housing Families, the Malden Warming Center, the YMCA, the Mystic Valley Elder Services. We had another focus group with these folks, understanding that they really interact with the priority populations that we want to hear from, and asked them the same questions and what they see as like the main challenges from their the populations that they serve. And so we met with them in the beginning of the project. We met with them again at the end of the project just to kind of gut check the strategies and the plan and see if there was anything that what else they wanted to see. And then one of my favorite community engagement strategies that we did was some community dinners. So we had 4 meetings over a meal with different community groups in Malden, including the Chinese Cultural Connection, the Malden Youth Civics Council, the Bike and Ped Advocacy Group, and the Suffolk Manor Resident Association. And so we were in person, we brought everyone dinner, and we had the draft strategies of the Climate Action Plan and just asked people to review and reflect and give us feedback. And I just really appreciated and I should say at one of those the dinner meetings at the Suffolk Manor Resident Association, we had a lot of non-English speakers, and so we had residents, we provided a gift card and compensated residents of the Suffolk Manor Resident Association to actually help us with translation and interpretation, which was a really unique way to interact and engage that community.
That's great. So I wanted to turn to Ricky again and ask about the future and what's upcoming for the Malden CASC. Are there any initiatives that you want to share?
So I think over the next year, what we're going to see is a lot of continuation as well as evolution of a lot of the programs that we've been talking about. You know, we're looking to kick off the depavering program, rolling out the energy coach. You know, as we're talking about the seasonal heat, right? We're going to be partnering up with UMA very soon to release some media around like how we can address these issues, how you can fix the not fix, but how you can find sources to oh gosh.
Maybe ways to stay cool during the
Yeah.
summer, how to stay safe, and
Yeah, ways to stay safe in the summertime from the heat, and yeah, we are also looking to build a climate action dashboard. Looking to release that later this year as well, where the residents can really look at our progress across the board on all the initiatives that we've been doing so far.
And how can people find out more about what we're doing or get updated on the energy coaching program when it begins? Becca, where's the best place to find us?
Sign up for our newsletter. So you can sign up for our newsletter at cityofmalden.org/greenmalden. Also, if you have specific questions for us, you can always email the Climate Action and Sustainability Commission. Their email address is CASC, CASC, at cityofmalden.org. Also, if you have questions about anything you heard on this podcast today, come find the CASC at the Green Malden Fair. Once again, Saturday, April 25th, 12 to 3 at Pine Banks Park. Bunch of other things you can do at the fair there, including recycle some stuff. You can sign up to get a discounted rain barrel. You can get discounted Black Earth subscriptions for compost or charm collection, all kinds of stuff. Come down.
And if you're listening to the Climate Action Plan and you think, wow, this sounds really wonderful, I can't wait to read it and learn more about that Clean Energy Coaches program, you can read the Malden Climate Action Plan on the city's website. So if you type in cityofmalden.org/CAP or CAP, you can search for and read the Climate Action Plan. I also wanted to give a shout out to Councillor Carrie McDonald. They have been an incredible support throughout this climate action planning process, has always been very thoughtful about community engagement, and they deserve lots of praise for all of their efforts.
Yes,
You're here.
Great. Well, that about wraps it up for us today. So thanks again to CASC Chair Ricky, from City Hall, Becca, and from MAPC, Julia. This was all wonderful information. We hope the work the CASC is doing this year and beyond will make Malden a greener, more resilient city for the years to come. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Woohoo!
Go team.